Welcome to the C-Suite podcast with me, Russell Goldsmith, and Graham Barrett. We are here at NRF, retail's big show, taking place at the Javits Center in New York.
We're producing these episodes in partnership with Kyndryl, who run and reimagine the mission-critical technology systems that the world depends on every day.
We're going to be interviewing a number of the speakers here at the event, and we really hope you enjoy these conversations.
Okay, I had the pleasure of speaking with Rachel Calhoun, who is Global VP Retail Consumer and Airlines at Kyndryl. And we've come back for part 2 of our interview here. And let's dive straight into it, Rachel, because we've talked about omnichannel for years, haven't we? What's fundamentally different, do you think, about truly unified commerce, if we can make that distinction between omnichannel and unified commerce?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think what we're starting to see in retail is that it's going to be really important to keep an evolving environment going. Mm-hmm. And that means a agile, adaptive operating model and set of systems that can be invested in and integrated in a way that drives business results. So I think from an omni-channel perspective, it's less about ensuring that the experiences are connected, more about having the data and the information ready and integrated in a way that shows up in real time for customers in the location, in their engagement method that they're using with the retail brand.
Now, nearly every session here at NRF is dominated by AI, no surprises there. So what would be interesting to get from your perspective is how you really see that driving genuine business value for companies today.
Yeah, I see a few examples that are live and in production now. There's, companies like Walmart, right, who's using it in supply chain and in inventory management from an AI perspective, who's seeing reductions of almost up to 60% in stock outs.
Crazy.
Direct, revenue impact to their business. H&M, there's others like that are using similar type use cases. I think the top 3 that I see as critical production use cases right now are pricing optimization, inventory and supply chain optimization, and then really a focus on that customer experience side and personalization aspect of the business.
And of course, the next big leap forward is going to be agentic AI, something that's been spoken widely here at NRF. So let's look at 2 aspects here. Obviously, that's going to fundamentally change how a business works internally and get in the members of staff, the frontline support on board. And then it's going to change from the customer experience side of things as well. But let's start with the role of the store associate, the frontline employee. How is life going to suddenly change for them?
I think it's a great question. So I think when I think about agentic AI, I think one of the most critical parts is thinking about the use case and the journey. That's employee journey and experience, as well as customer journey and experience. So we'll use that lens as we think about this a little bit. But on the employee side, the tasks and the manual tasks that we're requiring them time away from the customer will be automated. We'll be able to take action on those if they're integrated with the right back-end systems to help do that on their behalf, which means more time in front of the customer, catering to their needs, and also potentially having the right data in front of them to make more educated decisions about how to cross-sell and upsell with the customer more readily. I think that's going to be a really compelling aspect, but part of that's going to be ensuring that the employees understand the technology and what's surfacing up to them at what time, and how does that change their way of working. On the customer side of that, from a customer experience, the more agile technology you put at their hands and their fingertips and in these brand experiences, the more they're going to expect that. That is going to be the bar, right, for how they engage with these retail brands, which means the time to value is going to be critical, and having the right data integrations, back-end integrations of the mission critical systems to serve up the right information to them at the right time to take action on it and have those experiences be valuable is going to be critical.
Yeah, one thing I was thinking about is there going to be one moment from the consumer perspective that's really going to cement it in our minds that, oh, right, now we are moving on to the next phase? I mean, if you think about ChatGPT, when everyone started using ChatGPT, I think it woke everyone up to, this is what AI is. This was what it can do for me on a day-to-day basis, whether that's my personal life and my work life. Do you think there is going to be that moment with agentic?
I think we're seeing it a little bit in some use cases already.
Okay.
So things like agentic commerce that are happening with some of the customers we're working with globally from a Kyndryl perspective, where we're leveraging agents within the commerce platform build out to take automated actions behind the scenes for how consumers engage in that conversational commerce integration. So there's pieces of that are happening. I think we're going to snap our fingers and say, wow, this is a lot more pervasive than we even knew, even a few months down the line.
Yeah. Well, maybe we'll catch up next year at NRF and see how this year ahead has gone, because I'm sure there's going to be some huge changes ahead. But for now, Rachel Calhoun, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, pleased to say that Glenn Allison has joined me. He is VP AI Platforms at Tractor Supply Company. Glenn, welcome to the podcast.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This is great.
No, this is awesome.
We are here on the expo floor at 2026 NRF.
Yeah, we are.
There's a lot of people here.
Yeah, absolutely. This place is buzzing today. Now, well, let's start with Tractor Supply Company. Obviously, you're the largest rural lifestyle retailer in the US. I think I'm right in saying that. And you're here at NRF to talk about scaling AI in retail. And Tractor Supply Company has been a real leader in this area. How is that? How did that come about? And why did you do it?
First, I'd like to thank the over 52,000 Tractor Supply team members that serve our customers, every day and providing legendary service for them. We're in 2,400, local communities throughout rural America. Our customers, typically have land, animals, a lot of the products that you would find in a Tractor Supply store help them live a lifestyle. We call it life out here.
Yeah.
And, from an AI standpoint, how we think about things, we look at team member, things that will enhance kind of the team member experience and enable them to better serve customers. So like from our AI framework, we focus on team member productivity, rapid kind of insights and automations, things that'll help our team members save time, and then AI built into core platforms that, as partners that we work with, like as an example, Relex, that help us with inventory planning and localization, ensuring our stores have the products our customer needs in stock. We'll get the benefit of those AI advancements, and then also kind of customer facing, which we can kind of go into several examples. But with all of it, we've taken an approach of just practical examples that ultimately we can scale to the chain, and we're getting business benefit.
Yeah, I mean, how did you do that to go from that kind of, what I figure is if you're going to bring AI into an organization, there's going to be some kind of testing period, some kind of experimentation, but you've seemed to have, rapidly gone through that and straight to the execution phase. That sounds very difficult to do. How do you do that?
So we have a strong culture, mission and values. One of our values is change. So always looking at how we can do things better. We spend a lot of time in stores and working in stores and getting feedback from our team members and kind of how we can better support them and the customer experience and providing legendary service for our customers. And because of the strong culture, we've really embraced AI. I mean, we have AI champions across every department that help us accelerate kind of AI capabilities out to the chain and for our customers.
So real kind of advocates within the business.
Yeah, and there's real value. So like as an example, every team member is enabled with AI where they can use voice or chat. They can get real-time access to product information, product recommendations, inventory information. So as customers come in, if they need assistance, our store team members have access to some of the most advanced AI models in the world and information to better kind of take care of that customer.
Okay. And how do you do that without making the whole operation far more complex? How does that simplify matters? Because you'd think in the first instance, it's a lot of information, there's a lot of change to take on board.
So we've made it easy for team members to use. So we've embedded those features like the ability to use voice and chat kind of within their team member mobility device. So they have one device that enables them to do mobile point of sale, to be able to access information and other tools that just kind of help them serve customers throughout the day.
Yeah.
And so instead of having to physically go to like a PC or somewhere in the store to go access that information, they're able to do that anywhere. Like the garden center, the side lot, in the front of the store. We just made it really easy for them to be able to access and use.
And the feedback is, they fully embrace this, and it must be a very rewarding place to work then
Well, especially as we're seeing the advances in AI. I mean, OpenAI has been continuing to release, with GPT-5 and then 5.1 and now most recently 5.2. Same thing with Gemini, Perplexity. These AI models are continuing to get better and better over time. And then we're in a position, we're able to provide, our own product data, that enhances kind of the output of those models even further.
Now, the next big leap forward is going to be agentic AI, which I know you're pioneering as well. So where do you see the main use cases for that within the business?
So we worked with OpenAI prior to this most recent holiday season. We launched Scout AI. And it enables customers to get assistance while they're shopping. So, if you're looking for a zero-turn mower, and it'll prompt and ask you some questions and kind of help navigate you to kind of the best zero-turn mower, based on the lot size of your land. And other kind of properties, like, is there hills on your land, and kind of navigate you to really the best solution. And so, with OpenAI, we were able to get that in place prior to holiday season, and we're seeing customers adopt and use those types of tools. And also just with consumers increasingly use things like ChatGPT, we're also making our product data, images, making it easy for Tractor Supply products to be accessible from those LLMs. And it's ChatGPT, it's Gemini, it's Perplexity. We want to make sure we show up and we're shoppable. And then, are you familiar with Atlas? Have you used Atlas or Comet?
No.
So, and I'm sure a lot of your listeners, this is new. So Atlas, OpenAI has essentially reinvented the web browser and enabled agentic capabilities within it. So you can enable an agentic mode and prompt it with things to do. It can help you shop. It can help you book your travel, help you do a wide range of tasks. And so TractorSupply.com site is agentic enabled. So as customers are increasingly using, Atlas and Comet and, Google, like agentic enabled browsers, they can easily kind of shop the site. So you could just kind of prompt it. I'm looking for that zero-turn mower. I've got a 5-acre lot. I'm looking for something in stock today that I can get delivered. It'll go out, do the research for you, add it to cart, and then prompt you if you'd like to kind of check out.
Come back with the findings, and then it's there for you if you want to go ahead with the purchase.
And so how I find myself using it is I'll set up multiple kind of agentic browsers, have it do various tasks for me throughout the day, and then I'll come back and check the confirmation. I think it's important to still have a human in the loop and kind of reviewing, especially some of these larger purchases. But it definitely is a big time savings. And I think you're going to see more and more people using kind of agentic capabilities over time.
And I guess what's interesting is what you just said then, that you've actually tested it and this is what you do. Because if you don't understand how customers are shopping, then how the hell are you going to know what your own customers want? Is that important as well?
Yeah, and it's I think in terms of agentic commerce, no doubt it's like the biggest buzz on the floor today. Especially with the announcements from Google yesterday. But it's still early days. I think the reality is customers are going to want to come into stores. They're going to want to continue to use the mobile app, web, but we're thinking ahead. So as consumers change potentially how they want to shop, that we're going to make that kind of easy for them anytime, anywhere, anyway.
Yeah, just last question for you then. Is one of the not issues, but one of the challenges of agentic AI is knowing, what is actually possible here, because, it's really raising the bar to such a huge extent, isn't it? Is it hard to project forward and go, look, in 2 years, our shoppers might be doing X, Y, and Z?
Yeah, and I think some of it's like, I didn't anticipate.
Exactly.
Like, we're all learning. So like, let's use the example with Atlas and agents, shopping on TractorSupply.com. We've got Scout AI. It's powered by, OpenAI. We've seen in instances the agentic browsers are actually using Scout and getting more personalized kind of recommendations from Scout. Yeah. So that now raises agent to agent.
Yeah.
And, in the future, you're going to see agents are being built into not only web browsers, they're being built into applications, they're being built into platforms, and there will be a future where agents are doing work on your behalf and they're working through other agents and automating more and more tasks. And then that will raise, I think, the need for standards and how do these kind of agents kind of work together. We've seen announcements coming out of CES. There's likely more announcements coming with, the Retail AI Council. There's several meetings today and tomorrow. But that's what I'm hearing is like, how do we start getting some of these frameworks in place, making it easier for retailers and being able to support that agentic commerce. And the standards are, us working together with retailers and the partners.
Yeah. Listen, it is awesome that Tractor Supply Company is, at the center of this, AI innovation and, the next steps that we're going to be taking. So, I just want to thank you so much for joining me on the podcast, Glenn.
Yeah,
Allison.
no, this is great.
Thank you.
Appreciate the opportunity.
Appreciate your time. Thank you.
So I'm very pleased to welcome Rachel Dalton, who is Head of Retailer Insights Americas at Kantar. Rachel, thanks for joining the podcast.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. Appreciate it.
No problem at all. Now, you are going to be speaking at NRF. You're sharing Kantar's themes for 2026. What should retail leaders be paying close attention to as they plan for the next 12 months?
Yeah, so we do have 4 themes. So each year our team of analysts introduces themes that we really plan against from a thought leadership perspective. And these 4 themes really are a view of how we see 2026 and the overall commerce landscape. So the first one is a macro theme, and it's about rethinking resilience. And so it really just addresses the fact that unpredictability continues, and we're used to that at this point. But with costs and with policy shifts, retailers and suppliers really do need to continue to lean into flexible operational models and supply chain. So that's number one. Number 2 is this idea of fractured collaboration, and that's really our retailer theme. And so that's really about retailers needing to manage potential fractured relationships with their suppliers, not in a negative way, but just in terms of this need for short-term precision. That's a real requirement in these kind of very unpredictable times, managing that against long-term investment and unpredictability there. So that's one key part to that, but also retailers need to invest more in tools and messages to engage shoppers in this world that's transforming very, very quickly with technology. So number 3 is this idea of future-proofing value. So that's our supplier theme. And that's really particularly for big national brands. How do you continue to be different in the marketplace and be relevant in a kind of a real-time way, especially in light of emerging brands and challengers and private label growth, and how do you future-proof your value as a brand in unpredictable times? And then the last thing is about recalibrating relationships, and that's a shopper theme. And so that really addresses the fact that shoppers now are seen as individual shoppers with AI and the tools and the data that retailers have. And so that presents a whole new mode of communicating and speaking to your shoppers. And they're also shopping in a more circular way, a non-linear way. And so they're seeing your brand everywhere in different places. It's not a traditional funnel any longer. And so how do you connect with your shoppers in sort of this new landscape?
Yeah, well, let's pick up on that final one there that you just mentioned. Do you see, is there any disconnect between what retailers think shoppers want and actually what your data is showing that they do want?
I think retailers have a very clear picture. There's a very focused shopper's really the core of everything, and the consumer's really the core of everything. But it's, in today's world, shoppers may talk to an employee in the store, or might see a product on the shelf, or might interact on social, or with a favorite influencer, or read a review, or get a product delivered to their home. Their touch points with brands and retailers is in so many different places. It's how do you talk to them in all of these different places in a very consistent way. But the state of the shopper in 2026 is definitely that cautious optimism. We see that in our data, about 66% of shoppers in the fourth quarter of 2025 said that they need to be cautious about their spending. 62% said that they need to save money. So there's definitely that, I'm being cautious with my spending, but yet, I'm looking for value, and I'm looking for values beyond price in many ways, and we also see that in our data. So those are kind of the two things about the shopper.
Okay, what about in terms of brands who are both online but also have good old traditional bricks and mortar offerings? So what are the best practices you can share for those who are kind of successfully marrying the two?
Yeah, so again, it's really about connecting the dots at a very precise level so that you are appearing, being, messaging, communicating, connecting with your shopper no matter where they are. And they're in so many places, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. How do you connect with them in a very consistent way, leaning into the data and what you know about your shopper, and kind of being there and being present in all of these various moments of their day, which again isn't traditional anymore. It's a very circular way of going about shopping and discovery and purchase.
I want to move on to AI. It's obviously a key theme running throughout NRF. Where do you see AI having the biggest impact in terms of improving that shopping experience?
Oh, for sure. Just elevating that time savings and convenience, like removing friction out of the process in an even bigger way. And I think that's the evolution of making the shopping experience better for shoppers is doing that. So helping them find products, helping them compare products, getting to a specific outfit or a product they need for their home more quickly, feeling confident about their decision through all of the various AI tools that are out there, making their search process shorter. There's so many ways, just removing the friction and just continuing to make it easier for that discovery piece of shopping, which is fun, finding things that you might not have searched for because you didn't know to search for them.
When you've been shopping online, has there been one particular tool that you've gone, that's what I've been looking for?
Oh, goodness. I just, me personally, no, but I try out all of the different AI tools, just being in retail and loving it all and seeing it all kind of come to life. Yeah. So for me, I do really love discovering. My favorite thing about shopping is discovering something that I personally would never have thought about, and then getting excited about it and following kind of a new path, and then, having that connection to be able to find and purchase too quickly is also important to me. Sure. So
okay, let's finish up. Let's bring it back to the session that you're going to be speaking here at NRF, because you're going to be interviewing Denise Incandela, who's the Executive Vice President Fashion at Walmart. So that sounds really interesting. What's the top line stats about how Walmart has transformed its fashion strategy that you're allowed to share with us, maybe?
Yeah, I'm really excited to meet Denise tomorrow and talk with her. We have, internally at Kantar, our Shopperscape data, and looking at Walmart, the Walmart shopper in particular. A couple of things that are important to the Walmart shopper is having a stress-free experience shopping. Getting, the value is very important to them. So it's more about what they pay, but it's the value that they get from the product that they're purchasing. They want to have fun while they're shopping, but they also want to stick to a budget. So I think you'll see in tomorrow's discussion that you'll see sort of that come to life. There's a lot, as you walk through the Walmart stores and the fashion department in particular, there's ways now through QR codes for consumers to be able to connect back with the brand and learn more about the brand story behind what they're just seeing on the shelf. So that omni-channel connection, I think, is really key too. And we'll talk a little bit about that as well.
Great. Well, best of luck with that session.
Thank you.
For now, Rachel Dalton, thank you so much for joining the podcast.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
Very pleased to say that I've been joined by Matt Jacoby. He is Executive Director, Enterprise Strategic Analytics and Data Science at RaceTrac. Matt, how are you?
I'm doing well, Graham. Thanks for having me.
Thanks so much for joining us. Let's start with an intro to RaceTrac. RaceTrac and maybe your specific division within RaceTrac.
Yeah, I'd be happy to. So RaceTrac, we are primarily a convenience and fuel retailer based in the Southeast. So gasoline and Snickers bars and professional drivers are our business. We have over 600 locations. We've been around for 90 plus years. And we have a world-class team of associates and people in our store corporate headquarters that really make things work. So yeah, we're very fortunate.
Okay. And enterprise analytics and data science, what does that mean to you?
Yeah, great question. We are a team that really helps our business leaders make data-driven decisions. So insert your favorite buzzword: machine learning, AI, forecasting, optimization. We are the team that helps them do that and really alongside of them on their journey.
Now let's talk about, you just mentioned it there, let's talk about AI and AI hype in particular.
Yeah.
So what is your experience at RaceTrac? Obviously there's a lot of talk about AI, there's a lot of initiatives at the moment, but from what you were saying to me off mic, 90% I think you said, of those initiatives fail. Why is that?
Yeah, I think we're fortunate at RaceTrac that we take a very diligent approach before we haul off and do things. We're very focused on pilots and starting small, and we say a lot, crawl, walk, run. We also talk a lot about fussing and discussing. But if you're privy to the news and you read the articles that are out there, that 90% number is fairly pervasive. And so I think there's a lot of things that are driving that. We're very early, all of us, the royal we, are early in the AI journey, and we have a lot to learn. But I also think a lot of the gap comes from business partnership and that learning curve, right? We don't know what we don't know. We are oftentimes unconsciously incompetent at some of these buzzwords. And it's that business alignment part that is oftentimes an opportunity to learn more and to make sure that 90% isn't what happens with us or anybody that's in this space.
Yeah. So I guess the follow-up question then, what is the plan, or what is the best way to ensure that it's actually focused on business outcomes rather than just experimentation?
Yeah, it has to start with the change management mindset. You have to be in the weeds. You have to understand the real business problems and what they're facing. And that often means asking questions that some may feel are obvious, but oftentimes are not. And so it really is uncovering the true pain points and the needs and the outcomes before you haul off and go in your bubble and do a bunch of work. And we should also avoid the bubble. We should be bringing our business partners along on the journey, starting small, crawl, walk, run.
Yeah. I guess one of the issues just came to me that actually there isn't anything fundamentally wrong, if you know what I mean. All of these businesses, including your own, are working perfectly fine, thank you. It's just they could be working better, you could accelerate progress further. I mean, what do you think? Yeah, we are in a place of growth. We have made some exciting acquisitions lately. And so the word scalability is what comes to mind a lot when we talk about, why do this? We're a very fortunate and very lucky company. Again, you're not around for as many years as we have been without having really, really smart and dare I say, legendary leaders at the helm for as long as we have. And so the scalability thing is how I generally think we frame it, right? There's not a lack of work coming our way. And as we grow, it would behoove us to not grow linearly with our productivity and with our teams and with our people, while also having the added benefit of more precise decision making and more specific and honed in decisions as well. So that's how I frame it. Yeah. Are there any specific areas where you think AI is, really helping you guys out at the moment? Yeah,
we have a lot of skunk work projects going on, right. But I will say that the focus on the customer experience is primary, as is the what I just alluded to, the scale and the productivity of our team. As we grow and with our plans to do so fairly rapidly. We need to figure out how to do more with our team and the resources that we already have.
And I was talking to Tractor Supply Company earlier, and they were talking about agentic AI and how they think that's really going to change the game further. What are your thoughts on agentic and how that can really push the dial forward?
Yeah, I think it's another tool in the tool belt. And back to buzzwords.
Yeah.
My New Year's resolution for 2026 was fewer buzzwords and more action and more value. It's a tool in the tool belt, and finding the right application and putting the governance and the controls in place. Not letting the robots go iRobot on us.
Yeah.
That's really important. So yes, the agentic AI is the cusp and the next thing, and we all know how this is going. There's going to be something else in 6 months. But the alignment to the business, the focus on value outcomes, and the governance and the rigor and the putting bounds around things is really front of mind for our team.
Well, let's bring this full circle, actually, going back to enterprise analytics, data science, your area. So how difficult is it to know which areas to focus on, and which areas will you be focusing on this year?
Yeah, that's another great question, Graham. I think you've done this before. The short answer is where the business guides us. And I don't mean to be kind of passive or flippant, but it is based on the business need. So areas like operations, areas like supply chain, areas like sales and marketing, and even our G&A, our accounting and our tax team, there are lots of opportunities. But we will continue to focus where there's value and where there's excitement from the business and from our business partners.
Yeah, well, best of luck with all that. Matt, Jacoby, thank you for joining me on the podcast.
Appreciate it, Graham. Cheers.
Well, pleased to say I've now been joined by Amy Carr, who is Chief Marketing and Digital Officer at Thirdlove. Amy, how are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing really well. Thanks for joining us on the podcast. I'd like to talk about your session here at NRF first,
Sure.
if you don't mind, which was all about how every leading retail brand will be, guess what, AI first in 2026. Tell us what
Whether they want to or not.
Whether they want to or not,
Yes,
exactly. What does that actually mean in practice to you?
I think AI is interesting because it's so broad-reaching and it's happening so fast. It's almost hard to predict what it's going to look like
Absolutely.
this year or next year, at the very least. But I do think being AI first, AI ready, whatever buzz term word you want to use, is really all about testing, trying things, implementing some stuff, getting the change management aspect ready on your teams, and ready, really on thinking different. So we're using it a lot in the back of house stuff, right? Analytics has now become so much easier.
Sure.
I think there's a lot of back of house efficiency that will happen. I think the next kind of wave is really that what I'll call the front of house. So customer service, shopping agents, things that are really consumer facing. And so I think just being AI first is just jumping in, because everyone's gonna have to try different things. It's gonna be slightly uncomfortable, but
and I think that's when we're all going to see a huge difference, aren't we? When it goes front of house, that's when we're all going to start interacting with this AI and these fabulous agentic agents.
Yeah. A lot. I mean, retailers are using it now, even if they don't even know they're using it, because their partners are using it or something. But that front of house thing is going to be really game changing.
Yeah. So what do brands need to think about then when we're heading into this AI first world? How do they get ready for this? What should they be doing in the background?
Again, I think it's like organizing around change. We've asked everyone to put AI goals on for 2026, their personal goals, their team goals. How are you going to use AI? And then I think it's really figuring out what you are and are not going to use AI for. And so, like I said in the beginning, it's very broad reaching. AI can impact a lot of things, from I snapped a picture the other day and asked one of the LLMs to tell me what to make for dinner. And I do think, you want to figure out where it makes sense and where it doesn't make sense, where you still want that human connection, where you still want to feel authentic to your brand.
Yeah.
And it's different for every brand.
Yeah, and I just wonder how far that will go, whether, the AI will become so sophisticated that it does have that authenticity as well.
Might.
I mean, who knows?
That's, again, we can't predict.
Yeah. So, events like this are always about projecting forward and thinking about the future.
Yeah.
let's just look a year ahead. Are we going to see kind of significant changes in the next year in terms of how we shop for our day-to-day items?
I think it's going to do a 180. I think websites and e-commerce are really going to have to get their hands around AI, not just AI on the front of house helping you shop, but being ready to take bots shopping for people, right?
Yes.
I think the Amazon Rufus Alexa love triangle that goes on there, like that's what's going to happen. You know, you're going to, and I watch my teenagers do this. They ask Siri everything. Like you're going to eventually say, Siri, buy me a blank in size this, and I want this color, and use my personal credit card and ship it to my mom.
Yeah.
And we are not ready to catch that ball yet. And
absolutely.
So, you know, that's going to be the big change, really.
It has implications for marketing as well. I was chatting to another guest at a different event, and they were talking about, well, who are we marketing to now? If I'm not actually doing the shopping and I'm handing it over to this agent, are we marketing now to the agent rather than myself?
You know, I think one of the big things we already see is search. And so a lot of e-commerce companies have built an organic search platform that's really optimized for Google and optimized for the traditional search.
Yeah.
And I do think the first change I'm seeing is how do you optimize for the LLM?
Yes,
So that they'll actually recommend your product before we go to the place where the bots are shopping for you. You know, our customers, you know, the average search term has gone from, I think, 2 to 40 terms. So they're really going in there and they're using like a more personal, like you're talking to your friend. Tell me the best blank to buy for this occasion, and I need it in this color. And being ready to be able to feed those LLMs is probably the first place I would say for marketing teams.
Absolutely. And in terms of agentic AI, when do you think that might be commonplace then? Are we looking... I don't know about this year. I mean, I don't feel I don't think
it's going to be in 2026. I think we're still looking a little ways out because the the agents are still hallucinating in a massive way. We are in an industry where everyone's created different AIs to solve unique, singular problems. And I think what's going to happen is there's going to be a massive consolidation first.
Yes.
And that's when we're going to start to see agentic AI come up. So that if you're using the customer service AI, it's actually talking to the shopping AI. It's also feeding our store, you know, we have physical stores, store teams AI, whatever that looks like.
Yeah. What, if I could push you on maybe one other thing to look out for this year or in the coming years, how else do you think that AI might change how we're operating?
I think the content side is going to change dramatically, especially in terms of the copy, not just in marketing, but on the e-commerce sites too. I think that is getting much better. So you can take an image today, a flat lay of some product, and you can make a whole video of an AI-based video ad based off that one picture. And I do think we're going to see that really take off. I think we're going to see the first AI-generated movie this summer, I heard. You know, I do think that piece, it was really cringy last year when they were trying to use AI to make human bodies, but they've gotten very good. And so the content gen side, I think, is really going to be a big change for marketers.
And I guess for marketers, it means potentially you'll be able to test things out a lot more because it'll be so quick to get, a new video, what have you.
I used a system the other day and, right away I got 12 great ads. Quickly, I turned a few into videos, dropped it over to our agency and said, test this. They've came up with new taglines we never thought of. New ways to do the ad. So testing will go fast.
Exciting time to be in the industry, I feel.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, listen, Amy Carr, thanks for joining me on the podcast.
It was nice to meet you. Thank you for having me. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks.
So I'm now joined by Jason Johnson, Chief Information Officer of Sweetwater Sound. Jason, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Now, you were presenting on a session at NRF today. It was titled The New Loyalty Engine, How AI is Redefining Customer Acquisition and Retention. So I'd be keen to understand what's broken about traditional retail loyalty models and why are they no longer enough to retain customers?
Yeah, I think that broken is probably not a word I would use. I would say there's more opportunity there, right? Good example. Historically, over the last several years, we've always talked about everything. It's a tier 1 product launch. It's a tier 2 product launch, right? What are the customer segments that would enjoy this? AI comes in and says, "Hey, everything's tier 1 to somebody." right? And so every product launch, every marketing message you send can really truly be one-on-one with context. And I think that's what's changing, right? We're all unique humans. And we can serve each human now at scale, where they're at with the content they want. Of course, if we have the right data.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, how are you using AI at Sweetwater to enhance loyalty without losing that kind of personal touch that defines basically the brand?
Yeah, absolutely. What we think about AI is like Iron Man suits. So we're not trying to take the people away. And when Tony Stark lands in the Iron Man suit, right, and he steps out, everybody goes, Tony. Everybody knows he flew there in the Iron Man suit. You don't have to say it. So I think AI should be transparent. And I really think we have to continue to augment humans so that they can do what they do best, which is create personal connections with people. And I think that's how you continue to elevate and use it as a tool.
Right.
Yeah.
One of the things that you spoke about in your session was predictive personalization and real-time engagement. What does that look like in practice at Sweetwater?
Yeah, it's that tier one launch to everybody. So how do I understand where you are? We have complex customers, right? These are musicians, and I can be a gigging musician and play in a band. I can also play downstairs at the bottom of my house. I can also play at a church. And so trying to understand these different personas that each customer of ours has and where they are in that intermix journey, right? I play bass at church. I play acoustic guitar at home. I have different music genres I like. We start to really get this really deep understanding of where the customer is at and what they're doing and how we can best serve them.
Do you play?
I used to joke I always played the QWERTY keyboard.
Right.
But about a month ago, I bought a guitar and started learning guitar.
Oh, really?
And so I wouldn't say I play yet, but I can strum 5 or 6 chords now. So
that's
yeah,
right.
Yeah.
To be honest, most of some of the best songs are only 3 chords anyway. So
I had the guy who's teaching me said, listen, if you learn these 4 chords, because you'll play 1,000 songs.
There you go. Perfect. Right, coming back to the topic. So on AI, how has it changed the balance between customer acquisition and retention? And are we seeing smarter ways to invest in loyalty rather than chasing constant customer growth?
Yeah, I think that on the retention side, being a listener there and really understanding what the customer is doing and when they're doing and how you can activate on that is really, really important. And I think what AI does is allow scale. It allows what is existing and working to scale out and send those signals back. So we went from tens of customer signals in our CDP in the last couple of years to thousands of signals in that CDP to really understand what's driving the customer to come, when do they want to engage, when are they in a research phase, when are they not. And I think that's really how you drive long-time loyalty back to customers, along with serving every single customer individually, one detail at a time, and really meeting them where they're at.
Okay, so final one for you, Jason. Then, as it continues to evolve, and it is at quite a pace at certain times, in which areas of the business do you see AI having the biggest impact?
I think that it's yet to be seen, really, it largely, but I'll give you one example internally how we've used it. So we've started building this coaching platform for our sales engineers, where our sales managers previously were only able to listen to 1,000 or 1,500 calls a week for coaching purposes. And if you think about it, there's a lot of bias in that, right? I may have only listened to 10 of your calls, but our sales engineers are making 100 to 150 outbound calls a day. Now AI comes in, I can have AI listen to all the calls. I can solve the needle in the haystack problem and really surface insights. How does that come back to the employee? You get a coaching plan every week, and here's 3 things that you did really great last week. Based off of the lenses we designed in that call, here's examples. You can click on it. You can listen to yourself. And oh, by the way, here's one area we'd like you to focus on this week. And we can iterate that. It can really be without bias. And then we can bring the human coaches in to understand those plans and start to understand the trending and where things are going. And that makes us better at serving our customers and in a way that we can explore that data in ways that we've never had before. And it's really just a scale problem, right? 15 humans listening to calls one by one. There's only so many hours in the day where that becomes a diminishing return task. Now I can listen to every 30,000 calls every day and go, hey, here's the right calls to listen to at the right time.
What's been the response from the employees? Have they embraced that?
We have set out a really good governance framework, and that's something I'd recommend to everybody is create the policies, and for every policies, we actually created an interpretation guide. Here's what we mean. Here's where we're going. we're looking for Iron Man suits. We're not looking to replace you. We're looking to make you better and create a deeper surface area to connect with our customers. I always say, if we're doing everything right, the whole world should just fade away and tools should not be involved, and it should just be two people sitting here just like we are, having a conversation and trying to get the customer where we're going. If we can do that, I really think that's how AI will best serve our business. And you can apply that methodology internally in accounting the same way you can back towards our customers.
Yeah, I love the way you position that. Not trying to replace you, trying to make you better. I think that's fantastic.
Yeah, and you got to call out the fears. I think a lot of people, I've been known to say like, hey, we're all framers. We all have a hammer. Somebody just showed up at the job site with a pneumatic nailer. Is the pneumatic nailer going to replace you? No, but someone who chooses to adopt it and then work faster is probably going to replace you. That's the thing you need to be worried about. Farmers got tractors. They didn't just plow their 2 acres, and go sleep at 10 o'clock. They went and bought 200 acres. And so it's like, hey guys, this is scale. How do we really grow into this? How do we go find our other 200 acres and expand?
Yeah.
And then everybody has jobs and everybody wins.
Yeah, love it. Jason Johnson, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Well, that's it for this episode. So a huge thank you to all our guests who took the time to join us here on Kyndryl's booth in the Expo Hall at the Convention Centre.
Please do follow us wherever you get your podcasts. And if you'd like to get in touch with the show, you can do that via the contact form at csuitepodcast.com, or you can find me, Graham Barrett, and Russell Goldsmith on LinkedIn.
But for now, thanks for listening and goodbye.